Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Day 3 of the Bronze, Silver, and Gold Competitive Series, Week 6. You see a little bit of that Eskimo, you see a little bit of that Frosty, that's at the top of the board, and that's the match you're going to be seeing right now. Quite a long wait we certainly had to wait for, X-Don. What do you think about that wait?
I mean, it's alright. I'm glad that we are able to get them into the game. They unfortunately had to FF yesterday due to not having their whole team online, but today they got a couple E-subs, so I'm hype. It should be a good matchup. We have Frosty, who are honestly right now at the bottom of the standings due to reschedules and stuff like that. And we have Eskimos also towards that bottom area, so we get to see two lower tier teams start to make that run into the playoffs, see if they can become a mid-tier team. And right off the bat, Frosty's going to have the advantage because Eskimos here are going to lose all 5 bans because of just being late. Actually, not even because of that. They didn't submit a roster this week, so.
But you can also count them for being late on top of that, so I think there's just an inevitable no chance at all for them to have any opportunity to ban anything in this matchup. So this could not be a better little scrim matchup for Frosty Esports, who are definitely highly expecting to win this match, as Eskimos have been on a bit of a struggle as of late, trying to find out what works, what doesn't work in their system, and currently it has just been a long road for them, and Frosty Esports are looking to get more wins on their board so they can keep in that playoff run as we're getting halfway through the season. It's going to be a nice, good win for them, most expectingly for most of the audience members, but you never know what is going to be brought up at the last moment and what's going to be brought up at the last second. Big questions right now is what is Frosty's game plan, knowing that their opponents have 0 bans. For options, I'd say they take what they've practiced, they take what they feel confident in. Yeah, I don't see any other option for them to do anything else. What do you think?
Well, basically, they get to play whatever they want to. Dat Damn Tater Tots doesn't have the largest champion pool, so her Lex will be available, her Ari will be available, able to fall back onto the Orianna if needed. And you can tell that Hayes isn't in the support role today because they went ahead and banned out his Vigar, the only team to pull out Vigar support and win twice with it. So pretty impressive, as Frosty is starting to spread out the bans over all the lanes here. The Vigar against JBDRY, the Nocturne against David, and the Gnar against Cryptic here. They're really just spreading out the strength of Eskimos and seeing if all their members can dig a little bit deeper into their champ pool.
Definitely a good option to take for sure. You want to have every advantage you can when it comes to these wins. Since you're past the halfway point for the season, you need these wins to start accumulating nicely for you. You can't give away any opportunities, even if your opponent is unable to ban anything that you've got. But another big factor here looks to be Crypt taking out the Aatrox. You know, honestly, so far a lot of mysteries have come from this Aatrox. Nobody seems to know how to get him perfectly unlocked to see that full potential. Everybody keeps talking about the Riven of top lane, the new Riven, but every game so far has been a bit of a struggle in every sense of the word for Aatrox, and the main reason is what you can see right now. The Tangelo is going with a lane bully. Renekton definitely seems to be the strong counter pick, and so will Kai'Sa be a follow-up pick after that. X-Don, you think Renekton just is the kryptonite to this Aatrox, or what?
Well, actually, I think early on, Aatrox has like a little bit of an advantage. Obviously, I don't know the lane matchup too well. The champion just came out. But from what I've been hearing, he is just an absolute monster in the laning phase. His combos are just really good. He's able to get a lot of damage out. He's pretty consistent for the most part. And Renekton, although he's usually pretty able to punish a lot of other bruisers in the top lane matchup, depending on whether you go PTA or Conqueror, it's not like that devastating to go the Renekton. Mind you, this is Tangelo we're talking about. Tangelo's a pretty good top laner, and he definitely has the potential to go ahead and stomp into this Aatrox matchup. But if it's anything like we saw Rutledge's Aatrox, or I think we had another Aatrox before that, but Aatrox so far has come out of laning phase ahead, so should be pretty good in that regards.
Speaking of pretty good in the regards, I think they have quite enough junglers as it is here with both Aatrox, Kha'Zix, and Warwick. You can kind of play them all into the jungle. So now I'm a little confused at where Warwick is going right now, as it is selected as the third option, where Kha'Zix is also in the jungling choice here. Is this a Warwick in the mid lane? That is honestly a very important question going forward into their comp.
There's no way. There's no way. If anything, there is absolutely no way that's what that's going to be. All right, predictions coming out now. The Lux obviously had a great game on it yesterday. Tater Tot's very happy to pick that up. Almost scripting with the Lux binding, so we'll see if she's able to hit those again. But she has to be extremely careful this game because of the enemy team comp. You have the Aatrox, the Kha'Zix, and the Warwick all wanting to be diving onto the backline, and all you have is a Renekton for Peel so far. Frosty's going to really need to draft some serious disengage if they expect their carries to live out through the second half of these fights. But yeah, where is that Warwick going? If I had to guess, I want to say that that's a Warwick top lane and an Aatrox or Kha'Zix mid lane. It's a little weird, but I'm excited to see it. Hopefully it works out.
Yeah, I'm more concerned that was an unintentional pick, and they just simply took it almost out of random. Now, I'm not saying that Warwick can't be played in the mid lane, but I can say that it's going to be even more of a difficult matchup going up against that damn Tater Tots, who's been having a very successful Lux campaign so far. Once again, securing the Skarner, as Waifu will have a heavy lockdown plan for this Lux to get the burst damage to come through. That damn Tater Tots had a fantastic game last time, able to self-mitigate the damage very effectively when it came down to the fights that occurred, and that's honestly a really rare thing you see from mid laners to have such a high amount. But on the other side here, in the bot lane, is going to be the Twitch and Morgana, so that means that is a Warwick being used in the mid lane, as Stone Poet counters the option with a invulnerable and quite devilishly handsome Taric.
Yeah, it looks like they kind of just picked straight down the middle here. Warwick covering the smite, though. Could this be a new... Oh, never mind. He almost got me extremely excited. Some insane double jungle Warwick funnel strat where he goes full AP and somehow one-shots everyone in the map. Like, I don't know. I don't know what they're doing up across the border over in Canada, but it looks pretty spicy. If Warwick mid is what goes on, then hey, sign me up for it. Price the Taric in the bot lane against the Twitch Morgana. If I had to say, I think Morgana and Twitch have the pretty good upper hand in that matchup. Morgana just easily able to maneuver around Taric's abilities. No real threat there. Both supports going to go ahead and take ignites. There is kill pressure in the lane. Kai'Sa's job here is really just farm up, try and hit that 1, 2, 3 item power spike, and then go ahead, pop off in the mid game. But that will be so hard to do when you look at the assassinate potential from the Eskimos lineup. Really, any single one of those champs you get caught out by, you're pretty much dead. And like we said, they needed to go ahead and draft disengage. They go ahead and picked up the Skarner, they picked up the Taric, but when you think of disengage, you don't exactly think of those two champions. Taric a little more so, when he does have the ultimate, but you have to be able to cast that ultimate preemptively before your carries get one shot. So if he's able to do that, props to him. But it'll really be on to Waifu Chise to see if he's able to either get the picks with the Skarner ultimate, or if he's able to peel somebody off of his backline and then kind of hold him up to the front so they can beat him down.
Well, I was just gonna ask you about a split choice between who you feel like the mentality is on each side, but it sounds like you already went ahead and decided to do the Frosty Esports side to see what their mentality approach is going into this matchup. So I guess I'll go ahead and see what I think of Eskimos' plan and what their type of style is, and at least that's what I'm going to take my best guesstimation with it, considering it's a Warwick in the mid lane. I'm not entirely sure what the full strat is, but I'll certainly take a stab at it and see what it looks like. In the Eskimo side, they certainly have a really interesting lockdown style of a comp, although they do not have the type of style that you normally see in a competitive environment. Their plan seems to be quite strong, utilizing the 1v1 option against their opponents, allowing their better option to just get better positioning and better angles against their opponent, and utilize the fact that their opponents will not be able to position correctly and engage correctly when it comes down to the big fights to come. Warwick is definitely the odd man out of this situation, but he will have a great opportunity to get onto that damn Tater Tots, who will have to use abilities quite defensively to keep himself standing. In the best case environment, I dare say their opportunity to win 1v1s is exactly what they're pushing for. If they can get those opportunities to work consistently, they can make something happen in the mid-game stages after all the early game fights have gone successfully. However, a lot of the game definitely going to come down to how well Distant Life's early and mid-game situation comes about, because Twitch is really strong when it gets down to the big damages in the game. But I don't know for a fact how they're going to manage to get themselves into the right position. Eskimos definitely taking a harder strategy to pull off, and definitely a harder gameplay to successfully manage. Definitely going to be nice to see what kind of lockdown they can pull off for this Twitch, and what kind of pressure they can get away from Twitch, because it's certainly going to be very important. Well, couple seconds left.
You're not too wrong. I mean, I agree with the Hedgehog Attack 7 in the Twitch chat here. Warwick mid lane, someone get me off this wild ride, and someone hold me, this draft phase scares me. Absolutely correct, because this is pretty ingenuitive coming out from the side of Eskimos. Now, if I'm being honest, like analytically here, Eskimos side should not get ahead. They should have an advantage top side, and they should have an advantage bot side, but they're up against Frosty. Like, if we're looking at this from how the league is played out, Frosty should be able to hold even in these lanes and make it to the team fighting stage, which is where Frosty is able to like be their team, and their comp just starts working together. Lux is able to get the picks, and everyone's able to go off for the shot calling. For some reason, they all decide to int and feed in these lanes, which is possible against these champions. Then Frosty, I don't think, are in for a very good time. If Skarner isn't able to get the picks, if Renekton just ends up falling behind in lane to the Aatrox, and if Kaisa and Tarek, they just start getting caught out by the Borg bindings, Twitch is able to get a couple kills under his belt. He gets the 2 items completed, probably like, I don't know, Borg Hurricane, something along those lines. Then Frosty doesn't have a lot of ways to really come back into the game, besides really just trying to out-team fight. But you can't really out-team fight if you're all getting one shot. So right. It's, yeah, boosted. Say it, Don. Boosted. You're not wrong. It's a little, all right. I'll be a little bit more harsh. It's really boosted coming out from the side of Eskimos here, but it's just
a lot has to go.
I try and be a little bit fair to both sides, but hey, if they pull it off, then it makes me look bad. That's why I gotta like keep that middle line, like so I can teeter to whoever's winning.
Mm-hmm. And honestly, there is a lot of things go wrong. They can't really rebound. That's why it is, in your case, the word boosted. There is just too much that goes wrong in this environment that just makes this almost impossible for them to salvage whatever could occur and could happen.
But that's the
thing. Not
thing.
A rebound champion. Neither is Warwick. Neither is Twitch. Neither is Aatrox. Everything has to go right, and if they want to have a good chance.
But that's the thing. If it's not impossible in a bronze, silver, gold league. Anything is possible. We've seen crazier stuff. This isn't actually the craziest thing we've seen so far. So, first game of the day. Thank you guys for coming out. We have Eskimos on the blue side, Frosty Esports on the red side. Should be a spicy one for you guys to check out, as both teams don't look like they're going for the invade. And yeah, where do you junglers? Now, where are they going to start out? It's probably the biggest question.
So, I was going to bring out a very interesting little situation. So one of the things that I noticed from a good old friend of mine, Fred Fredersen, ladies and gentlemen, he happens to play a good amount of Warwick in the mid lane, and the best benefit of Warwick in mid lane used to be that you could double proc the Q, which means you could double proc your amount of damage. What it essentially meant is you can basically manipulate the amount of damage you can do through your Sheen, and essentially surprisingly overwhelm your target in the mid lane, who is commonly a pretty squishy champion. But this is the best possible situation for a champion, for that damn Tater Tots to pick, because no matter how Warwick angles it, it comes down to how well the skill shots of the snare is going to land. So that damn Tater Tots is definitely going to play at the advantage here, and we'll be seeing a lot of that coming up.
Yeah, he's going for the grasp, has the Doran shield. He'll be able to regen a little bit. He's probably going to go pretty tanky this game because he is just going to get completely out-harassed. He's going to get out-farmed. It's just the nature of poke into melee matchup. Tater Tots has to be a little bit careful there if she's walking that forward. But she knows that Warwick doesn't have any abilities to jump on her quite yet. Also does have the barrier for a little bit of extra safety. We saw it come in clutch a couple of key moments last game. So, I mean, we're just into the laning phases here, and yeah, Blue Shadow Knight, you're absolutely correct. If Lux ints here, I'm setting this entire game on fire. So gonna say as well, Dory, you're right. They did fix the double Q bug. It's no longer the case now. So Warwick is essentially
not going to have a good time against those Lux in the mid lane, and you can already see the health bar on the left side dropping quite quickly as that damn Tater Tots is getting very easy trades against the Warwick.
We do see a little bit of trading up onto the top side. Tangelo and Crypto kind of feeling each other out here. This might actually be a fully unengaged. It's not, though.
Ooh.
Just top laners. Top laners being top laners. The question, though, is do we have a lot more action towards the top side just because of the nature of the aggressive matchup? Or do we see more of a... Actually, here you go.
Yeah, it looks to be a massive catch by Tarek for a second there, but I guess it wasn't a full commitment. Just seems to be a light trade. Speaking of light trading, I wish Warwick could do some right now, as it's that damn Tater Tots having complete control of the trading.
Yeah, Lux really being the expert on light trading. You know, just illuminating abilities.
Speaking of trading, Crypt takes a heavy one as he's now nearly dead, as he has now been forced to back off of the top side. Great job by the Tangelo, taking advantage of his ability to do instant stun locks and just quick and strong trades onto Crypt.
Yeah, Renekton continues to go ahead and press his health lead like that. He's already blown the teleport.
That will be... Oh, wait a second! Times the Q well, needs one more auto, and he's gonna get it for sure. Lux gets the first blood against the Warwick.
You know, I was actually about to give so much credit to this Warwick. He's completely even in CS. If he didn't die, he's actually playing this game way better than he could be. So props to him for that. But the first blood does go out over to Tater Tots.
And it looks to be a big mistake here. Kha'Zix comes around the side, secures the kill on Crypt. Secures the kill on Tangelo. Whoops. Oh, snare just a bit south of the border as Triple C 3-2-1 will avoid a possible good trade. That it would have ended up pretty sour for that situation.
Alright, so as we all know, jungle difference is what wins games, and FDavid9 already showing why he picked the Kha'Zix, doing the early aggressive trades early. Nothing's really going to come out of the spot lane trade, so I'll continue talking. Skirmish is all over the map right now.
Yeah, absolutely, and Warwick was thinking of committing in with that play, but David was on the retreat immediately. More trades going on between Tangelo and Crypt, as their level differences are starting to come into play here. Now it's back to even.
Alright, so yeah, like I was saying, because Tangelo blew Cryptic's teleport so early, the fact that David was up there to go ahead and punish...
Did you mean fight right away? Yes, I think that's what you meant. Meanwhile, big trade, big Q damage by the Tangelo, takes out the Aatrox, the heavy CC from the rage-induced stun, makes the stun last a half a second longer, and that is what's going to make a big catch here. Meanwhile, at the bot side, big catch by Stone Poet. They're going right for Crypt. Can he get out of this situation? The catch glove save by the minion makes it so that way Morgana does not lose any more health. Meanwhile, David takes a risky play, completely backfires as the snare holds him down on the tower and gets the kill.
Like we said, jungle makes the difference. And the difference is one jungler is diving underneath the tier 1 bot tower, or the tier 1 mid tower, and the other jungler isn't. So, if FDavid9, he giveth and he taketh away. Lux now 2-0. Hasn't had her first back in yet, though. So, as soon as that comes into play, we'll have a ton of damage, and the Warwick will not be having a pretty good time. And Tangelo is really just starting to come out with a lead here in these top lane trades. He does have the level advantage, and with the Conqueror able to be proc so easily on Renekton, it's just not looking good for the Aatrox.
And it's quite obvious at why it's not being so easy for Aatrox to do what he wants to do. Tangelo, now level 6, going to go ahead and jump right onto Crypt. Ultimate's now flying on both sides. He does get some of his health back, but it's not much. Tangelo will have an option, but doesn't want to go for the flash as he lets Crypt use his, and it's going to be Frosty grabbing a Drake.
Yeah, Frosty with the great macro here. They understand Tangelo is drawing pressure towards the top side. Warwick's roaming up. They had vision of that as well. The Warwick!
Swing and a miss, and JB Dry will not quench that thirst as he does not manage to get the connection. Meanwhile, at bot side, there is a connection. Crypt hits the snare, and it's big damage by the true damage of both the Ignite and the Twitch. Poet stopping the play after he hits Morgana with a stun, and that's the end of that play. It looked to be a little sketchy, but it's a good escape for triple C2 3-2-1.
Alright, so rewind about 3 minutes. Frosty, with their first little bit of good macro all season, they go ahead, take the Inferno Dragon because they see Tangelo has a pretty dominant lead in the top side. He's drawing mid lane pressure up, he drew jungle pressure, and he's pretty much able to hold his own for the rest of this game. Now, they go ahead, they get the Inferno, which will be huge because pretty much all those champions like to do damage, minus the Skarner and Tarek objectively, but really good job by them. I always hesitate talking during those word fights because at any point they could just instantly turn into a kill.
Yeah, and it looks like that's what that damn Tater Tots wanted on Warwick, but the snare misses again. Tater Tots is for the first time in this matchup, is definitely starting to see an opponent that's actually very focused on preventing any snares from landing easily. So that damn Tater Tots prediction, as he was able to do previously, is no longer the case, and JB is doing everything in his power to try to avoid it while still getting CS, and the farm difference is starting to come through too. Here we go, big fight under tower, and Tangelo easily makes that a great and fast kill, and that's going to be some heavy damage he'll get onto that tower until Crip uses his TP. I think he has to use here just to make sure that Tangelo does not take the tower. Meanwhile,
yeah, no sweat at all.
Oh, well timed on the damage reduction for JB, but he cannot avoid. No, he does avoid the snare at the last second. He will get out of this sticky spot. Morgana happens to be well wedged between both Stone Poet and Triple, and yet somehow squeezes out alive. And Triple nearly went down from that play.
Alright, so now that every single lane has fought, I probably have about 30 seconds to talk before they do it again. So,
or do you?
Actually, JBDRY here, that's what I'm going to keep calling him. He's actually pretty good at the Warwick here. Was able to proc the E so he gets the damage reduction. Didn't go down to the Lux laser, and he was able to survive. He's still keeping his farm pretty even, and he's not allowing Lux to get as much out of this lane as she possibly could. She is 2-0, but that's from, I feel like, different circumstances. The real dominating factor of this game has been Tangelo on the Renekton. And Eskimos knows it, and they're starting to send resources up to try and help out. I think it's almost too little too late at this point. Eskimos have a really small window of probably about the next 5 to 10 minutes to try and get something rolling on this map before Frosty's comp just takes over, and they're pretty much just going to out-damage them the rest of the game.
What I'm liking so far from the Warwick is that he's playing the champion to its best possible usability for Kit. Surviving the important burst damage, able to get the sustain necessary, and keeping as close to the wave as possible, so it forces that damn Tater Tots to have no options when it comes to trying to force the Warwick back. And because Warwick is playing so close to the wave, there's no easy snare for Lux to land and no easy damage to get off consistently. Excluding for this situation, of course, when David was coming, but Warwick has been very elusive and keeping the game quite close. Snare lands, and that will be a instant escape for the Morgana.
Yeah, nothing coming out there. It's kind of hard as a Skarner Tarek to go ahead and gank a lane when you have the Black Shield up. Simply, and I mean, they did get the flash, so that's something. But yeah, just going ahead and running at them isn't exactly the best strategy. A bot lane, for the most part, despite the constant back and forth trades, is pretty even. Twitch slightly above in CS, not really mattering too much. We see Skarner here hovering around the mid lane just to give Lux a little bit of pressure, letting her shove the lane pretty effectively. I would be very happy if Frosty decided to send their jungler and their mid lane kind of up top, maybe for one more dive so they can go ahead and secure the Herald, maybe extend their lead just a little bit. We'll see if they do it. It doesn't look like they're going to, though.
Snare connects onto the Tarek. This could be a dead Tarek. Stun will land. Stone Poet trying to keep his health bar up, but he did not time it well enough. Morgana gets the last auto in to get the kill. Snare connects. Prep wants to keep this going. He's going to risk his own life for it. And Waifu gets the kill. It's a suppression that lands on to Distant, and he will not have the Distant life he was looking for.
Yeah, it looked like they were on different pages there. Crep wanted to keep the fight going. Distant Life is like, hey, we got the kill, let's back off. The Skarner ultimate was still available, and he pretty much just flashed, click, distant life, and his life is now not able to be seen for the next couple seconds as he waits for the respawn. Warwick has to be really careful here, but he's trying to keep the tower alive. It's going to go down, though, eventually. There's not really much he can do about it. Lux is sitting just now coming back from her second base, and just you see the damage that she's able to put out. Warwick, although he's trying to...
Oh, boy. Not a lot of mana.
Oh, okay.
You know, if I was Warwick there, I would have went super greedy after the snare finished. I would have actually committed for an ultimate, but let's see if JB goes for it. It's a well-timed flash by that damn Tater Tots. Root connects. The ignite goes through. The barriers
might actually go down.
JB will not get the last auto attack, and that damn Tater Tot survives. But not for long.
Or does she?
Does she indeed? That damn Tater Tots making it out after the Warwick, but not getting out after the David's surprise gang from the side.
If I was Warwick here, I would be completely flaming my jungler, because Lux has taken probably 10 to 20 tower shots this game.
Tangelo catches a sneaky bug and completely removes him from the map in an instant.
Okay, back to flaming my jungler. Yeah, like, Lux has probably taken like 15 to 20 tower shots this game, and if I'm Warwick, someone who has lockdown CC, and I'm with a Kha'Zix, and I'm against a Lux, it's just, hey, why don't we just kill her? She's already under my tower. Like, there's no real help. Best case scenario, or worst case scenario, we just get her flash. So, that's a lane that they could have punished, and they decided not to. And now we're at the point where Aatrox can't do anything top lane. We see Renekton, he's able to transfer his lead from the top, and he's starting to just solo kill David out in the jungle. And Tangela is completely locking down the top side of this map. You see he's got his nice little vision ward. He's pretty much not worried about anything for the rest of the game, and it's allowing the Skarner to just pick up dragon after dragon, and they already have 14 minutes into the game.
One of the big benefits now Warwick has decided to go for with a QSS. He is attempting to completely dismantle that damn Tater Tots' damage advantage in the lane and trying to force this fight in mid to keep Warwick in the game and keep Warwick from stopping any opportunity that might befall him. But with the QSS, that I honestly think is the most bizarrest decision for an item choice, as he's basically getting it purely for protection against anyone who's going directly for him for CC. It's just an interesting choice. You don't really see it very often in any situation when it comes to being mid-laning Warwick, but you definitely see it even less against this type of situation in general.
Well, what it tells me is that even if Skarner comes, if Renekton's trying to stop him, Warwick wants to be into the middle of the fight, and he wants to disrupt the backline. So no matter what CC hits him, he is going to get there, and you're not going to stop him. Now, the problem with this is that the QSS isn't really going to build into any items that he wants. He's going to kind of probably sit on it for the rest of the game.
Oh, barely missing JB. He's going to use the suppression to counter the other suppression as Waifu takes down JB.
That would have been a good spot to use the QSS there. But, yeah, weird interaction on how that works. Is David actually going to be able to get the kill? We'll see.
Yes, he will. Slices the back of the neck of that Skarner, or cuts off his tail. I don't know what he did, but he will get out of that spot. It's the auto attacks that seem enough. He needs a little bit more life, but the spell vamp that he wanted was not there for him. He ends up going down to Tarek's Ignite. It's the last auto comes through cleanly. I find it also quite interesting. Stone Poet has decided not to eat any of his biscuits so far in this match.
You know what? The biscuits, he just gains too much weight. He's on a keto diet, doesn't really need the extra carbs, and it's okay. It's fine. They don't add mana to your health pool at all. It's okay. Just don't use them. We'll see if he sells them, actually. I'm actually kind of curious. I respect Crep a lot, actually, in this bot lane, because he just doesn't care. He's constantly... Actually, hang on, wait a minute.
Did you say somebody doesn't care? Looks to be... You must be talking about Tangelo, as he's forced Aatrox completely off the tower.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Doesn't care whatsoever about the Aatrox or the tower, as he's pretty much able to sustain back up to full health with the ultimate and with the Q lifesteal, so...
Fear connects. Warwick is certainly trying to get that damn Tater Tots off of the game, but I think he inadvertently made it a lot easier for Lux to get the kill, and it's JB going down again, as he is very frustrated at how accurate this Lux has been throughout the match.
that's one of those, hey, I'm gonna bait mid lane and you come and gank her, right? But he was baiting for about 10 seconds longer than he should have, and when you're baiting at 25% HP, you sometimes get punished for it. And Tater Tots is really just picking up the fruit from all of these mid lane jungle mistakes. 4-1 on the Lux, 103 CS. Not the most in the game, but with the kills added on, she will do a lot of damage to the squishy members on the side of Eskimos, such as the Twitch and the Kazakhs.
And we go at a quick check in the bot lane as of right now. I was pretty curious to see that there hasn't been a lot of focus in the bot lane. No big plays, no grand catches on bot lane other than the misreads between Crep and Distant Life, as they both seem to be shot calling this game quite differently from each other's strategies. Whether it's communicational errors or not, it doesn't seem to matter too much. But right now, Tangelo going right after the Aatrox again, knowing that he had nowhere to go. He's going to fight through the wave, but at the red buff, it's a good catch, Aruni on David. Crip trying to get out of this horrid situation. Warwick decides to go for the ult, and Crep decides to take the blast cone out. No synergy between those two as they're starting.
He's got no damage.
Got no damage. Warwick racing his way out, and Tangelo definitely has a lot of it. Trying to rip through the armor, uses the QSS for the first time, I think, as he gets himself out of the grasping hands of the alligator.
Alright, hopefully Frosty watches this VOD back so I can tell him this
no
one.
action
Oh
in
my
bot
god.
lane?
What I meant to say was, dive the towers immediately.
Demacia barely dodging the overwhelming amount of CC. Crypt is staying alive. It's a heavy root lockdown, and Crypt gets a kill at the end of it. Somehow the dive have backfired heavily against Frosty.
Yeah, they didn't have the teleport of Tangelo, and they all seem to be on different pages there with that engage. Skarner really wasn't able to set anybody up. Lux missed her burst down onto the Aatrox. He was able to dodge out of the side of it, and they come out better for worse here on this. Now, what Frosty can continue doing is, despite losing a kill here, they can continue the siege onto the bot tower, pick that up. You already see Renekton, because everybody's down there, picked up a tier 2 top lane tower. So Frosty, at the end of the day, get the better trade from this. It just wasn't executed as cleanly as we like.
Well,
but you know it was executed.
Seems to be Tater Tots again hitting that ultimate, and once again getting rid of towers with his teammates. Going to go in and add another tower to go.
Crep doing his best impression of a pancake, and his health bar really falling flat there. And as another dragon, because of all the top lane pressure Tangelo is putting on, I hope Frosty gives Tangelo a nice coffee, rub his back a little bit after this game, because his map pressure has completely allowed Frosty to do whatever they want, and he's gotten pretty much 0 health.
Yeah, and it's just awesome to see in their situation, because they need to start looking more and more like the playoff ready team that they're positioning themselves to be, and they got to keep that going if they want to get more wins on the board. Best way to do that is to have a good impression in these type of games. Got to show that you're ready to do this, and you're ready for more games to come. And they're definitely showing that in this.
Yeah, you aren't wrong. But quick flame, I hope Frosty watched this VOD back, because they had Herald up there for 10 minutes between the 10 and 20 minute marker. Tangelo could 1v3 if he had to, and they didn't look at Herald once that game. They had 3 dragons, but dragon comes up every 4 or 5 minutes. You had time. Skarner literally just had to run up there and go ahead and secure the Herald by himself. He didn't even need Renekton to be there. But small little skirmish here.
Yep, and it looks to be a little bit bigger. Tarek seems to finally get caught, and they're going to do everything they can to catch him. QSS used. Warwick reducing so much damage, as that would have been a kill in any other type of mid laner. Not this time. Oh, what a dodge. He pulls his own head away from the light as he gets away from Lux's damage. Lux on the side, no help, no teammates, as they're racing in their way onto Distant Life, who had no one behind him. He's gonna do absolutely nothing but go down there. Tangelo takes out 1, the ADC triple takes out 2, and Aatrox will end up holding him down for the Kazakh's kill on the assassination, but he will not live long enough as his ultimate used to keep himself standing. Crypt racing his way out. but he ends up making a big misread as he does not hit the knock-up on the first Q, and they will walk under tower, kill him for the ace.
It kind of tells you the state of the game when Lux is able to go ahead and flank 5 members of Eskimos and come out alive. Only had to use the flash there towards the end. Is just purely using the ultimate for wave clear at this point, as Frosty are going to go down here, try and pick up the middle inhibitor tower. We'll see if they're able to. Respawns are now coming up for Eskimos.
But back to the earlier point. Oh, wait, maybe I shouldn't say that right away. But anyway, back
we can never go back. We don't want analysis. We want 24/7 action.
That's true, because those are the funnest things to watch, I gotta admit. Since we have a small break in the action, I want to agree with you on that Herald opinion you were saying earlier, how they did have the opportunity, they did have the choice to take it, but chose not to do that. And I feel like that's a bit of a missed decision on their part, and I do concur with you. It would be a lot better if they could get as much objective control as they were allowed to have in this game, and they didn't really factor that in, and I do concur. It is definitely in their better interest to have all the items, all the weapons, all the ability they can get into their early game, so they can get stronger in the mid and late.
Well, it's what separates the bottom teams from the top teams. You want to talk about how much you can take from your opponent and how much they're going to let you have. Eskimos completely let Frosty have the Herald, and Frosty didn't want the Herald. So it's like, okay, you're still ahead, you're 10k gold lead ahead, you're not playing bad, but you could be playing better.
Black Shield just a second behind, and Krept is going to end up going down as well. Morgana ultimate does complete, but Triple will still get the kill after that fact anyway. Warwick is now going to be attacked by Taric and the now very strong Renekton. The suppression was well timed if it wasn't for Taric's ultimate, as it cancels out all the damage and the position he had under tower. Stone Poet timed that well.
Yeah, not bad there with the Taric ultimate, able to soak up all the damage and having Renekton take no damage under tower. You thought he was scary already, but he gets even scarier.
There, swing and a miss, and that damn Tater Tot's been shooting all day so far, and has been hitting marks when it's necessary and when it's been clutch.
Yeah, they go ahead, take down the middle inhibitor tower here, and following up onto the inhibitor.
Fear connects, but it's so much damage all over the map. The free ADC in the backline for Triple, as he's now having taken out the assassin. He's going to take out more members, and the damage is quite cleanly clear. Triple jumps right to the front of the line, and Tangela will take out Crypt.
This is actually going to be the end of the game. That's a complete ace for the side of Frosty here. They go ahead, take down the middle inhibitor. They start focusing down the Nexus towers. I think it is 15 to 20 seconds left on all members. One inhibitor tower, or one Nexus tower goes down. The other one falling down as everyone starts swinging at the CS, because we want to pad stats here in DUO Esports. As they go ahead, take down the Nexus, and game one cleanly, kind of, goes over to Frosty Esports.
Well, for what they got in resources, they were able to utilize. What they got in item purchases, they were able to utilize. But I feel they did not have that much comfortability with the lead that they had in that environment. And you can see that they happened to do really great in this matchup. They had all the CC, they had all their macro play and mechanics down to a T when it came down to their understanding of pre-game stuff. But they were not fully aware of how much room they had and how much freedom they were able to control when it came into that type of environment. But hey, you don't exactly run into that situation every single time. And sometimes you don't really get to practice quite a matchup like this one. Ladies and gentlemen, let's take a look at the damage to champions here. And Warwick, I believe, has set a new record for the lowest amount of damage a mid laner could possibly do. 3,347.
Yeah, and that's just really, and he probably got all that off in the last one or two team fights, if I'm being honest. He didn't touch Lux at all through the laning phase. The only damage Lux took was through towers and minions hitting her, really. Mm-hmm. So that is just, it's what happens. Like, you go ahead, you pick full tank Warwick into the Lux mid, and she's able to pick up a couple free kills from whether it be junglers diving her under tower or poking you out until you choke and die. Mm-hmm. It'll be one or the other, and definitely did a lot of damage, most in the game. In fact, I think she had the most kills too. Really able to perform
You are
in the
correct.
matchup she was given.
She did have the most kills. You are correct.
Yeah, just able to perform in the matchup she was given. Second most, no surprise here, being the Renekton. Just 1v2 to 1v3 doesn't matter really when you're able to draw the whole team topside. The rest of your team can do whatever the hell they want bot side. So.
We have a bit of time. I only want to mention about the damage taken in self-mitigation for a brief second here. Warwick putting up
No
the
surprise
damage
there.
taken. Yeah, Warwick definitely being the top of the board here for obvious reasons. Always been the most damage taken type of champion. But for every purpose for him to be the most damage taken champion, he certainly was not supposed to in this environment, as a mid laner is supposed to be one of the least targeted ones unless you're thinking of a Galio or something along those lines. In any case, he, well, was the most focused and was taken down rather quickly. And Lux setting a good prime example for how to utilize the least amount of pressure when you take the least amount of damage in the game. Certainly did a really good job on that notion. But let's take a look at the vision score and wards plays. Favorite topic of the day.
What we all want to know is who placed the vision and how good were they at it. I think it's no surprise here that you're going to see Frosty coming out in huge numbers for the vision score. The jungler support duo really stepping it up for the team, putting out the forward wards, making sure Tangela never got ganked when he was overextending, making sure Lux never got ganked when she was basically free autoing the Warwick under the tier 1 and tier 2 towers. So when they play that aggressively, it's good that you're warding.
Very good indeed, and it is also nice to see that it's the jungler as well keeping up on that vision score, keeping the game quite close to them. Let's take a look at the control wards, Dota's favorite topic of the trade, and it's no control wards by the Aatrox. Oh boy, bit of a shame on that regard. Gotta at least place one. Every one of your teammates did. You gotta get yourself one as well. It would always be beneficial for your team to get as much vision as you're physically allowed to do so. Well,
yeah, can't even flame the Aatrox too much just because he got put so far behind. He's probably like, I just need potions, please, somebody help me.
Drink,
and, yeah,
drink your problems away.
definitely needed something in that lane, and he wasn't really getting the jungle pressure. Can't flame him too much. But thank you guys for watching this first game. We're going to go ahead, scoot right on into the next matchup, which I believe is DUO Esports versus AOL Phoenix. Two Season 2, Season 1 teams returning, battling it out over the years, really. Just a two complete legends at this point, so should be a fun matchup.
Yes, definitely would be, and I gotta say real fast that I hope you're having a great Saturday so far, because it's DUO Esports time, and I can't wait to see more of DUO Esports coming up, folks. See you guys in the next few moments as we're getting ourselves prepped and ready for the game to come. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the next match. It's Aether Esports Saturday. From this point onward, as you can see on the board, more Aether Esports action than you possibly deserve. As we're getting right into the matchup to come, I have to ask, what are you doing? How you feeling, DeRay? We got anything you want to say to us?
I see a lot of E-subs on AOL's team. It's 2 days in a row. They did suffer their first defeat just last night? Yes, last night. My apologies. But yeah, right now they're subbing in Abyssal Owner, Chastity Clamps, and a Miss Cardi B. And we're going to see a Zoe ban first off. That has to be targeted to Lives to Smile's most played champion this season is the Zoe.
Yeah, and I'm quite excited for AE. They have been for so long a bit of a struggling program in this, but they've got themselves some winnable teams. They've got some winnable champions and some winnable players. AE DUO happens to be one of those individuals that have been starting to scale up a little bit as of late through his play style. Although still in the tier of top laners, not exactly, you don't see as the number one, you do see as a contender in the DUO Esports program, and it's quite happily to see him being brought into this match. I'm hoping for some good stuff to come for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And we also got to keep our eye out. 2 weeks in a row, Hero Termina staying on Aether. Not going to name change, but that's okay. He's got the AE tag. He's been a pretty good carry for them. He's helped them get a win now.
The rivalry between AOL and Aether Esports continues today as per the old memory. It's Hero Termina versus his old team again. This time a different season, a different time, and a different way. It is going to be pretty fun to see if Aether, with the power of Hero of Termina, can get the momentum that we're hoping for and to win through.
And as a reminder, we are again looking at 3 misbans at the beginning of the game for AOL. Honestly, from the looks of how they've been drafting so far, looks like they tried to just get some kind of power ADC for Hero early. Could change here, but the champion pool from Sobriquet, especially, with no bans, not really at risk of losing anything. He does play a lot of Warwick. It is his most played jungler. But I've seen in solo queue he can play some other stuff.
Well, we're certainly going to see something, as they have a lot of options and a lot of availability going into this. They have the option to take their bot lane first, and I'd advise that would be a very good idea. Arda getting Rise and then Hero Termina getting the bot lane, I'd say that's exactly the best way to take the approach of this.
Yes,
because that way you send...
Yeah, it leaves Hero his signature. Ezreal is one of his most played champions. It's what he got his name for last season. The power picks of Kai'Sa and Lucian are also up. And we've seen Hero play Xayah to a lot of success despite the AD carry changes later into this season so far. But with 2 seconds left, we see the Rise. Huge pick for Arda, pretty safe. We've seen that he can play it into pretty much anything.
He swings games quite drastically when he can get his hands on Rise. He's able to get so much burst, so much turn, and just so much overwhelming power that he can make anything happen against an opponent who's not prepared and ready. Meanwhile, looks to be an interesting strategy going from the bot lane, taking the classic Lucian Braum in order to prevent it from Hero Termina getting such a thing.
And that's incredibly valuable, even into a range versus melee matchup. Lucian Braum has so much all-in potential. If Braum can manage to walk up, get an auto with his shield up, or whether he lands a Q, that Winter's Bite proc is huge with a Lucian lane. And you have a second left. Sobriquet is about to lock in the brand. Can probably presume it's going bot lane in some way, shape, or form. We have seen it as the bot laner as well as the support in recent days.
So with a brand option, you're thinking heavy poke and heavy trading here. I would imagine that'd be pretty nice to have, but what kind of strategy is Hero Termina going to go for with such a strong poking choice for a support? Sitting on Misfortune currently, he's looking for a Warwick at the last second trade. Looks like Sobriquet has decided to confirm the Warwick in advance to give more room to the ADC choice that he'll certainly come across eventually.
He does want to continue. He does want to continue the one tricking, but keep in mind AOL is going to start getting bans after this. So To Live Is to Smile is going to lock in a champion here in 5 seconds, and then we're going to see some bans from their side. And the classic To Live Is to Smile Syndra was huge on it last season. I believe this is the first time we're seeing it this season.
Now, To Live Is to Smile Syndra has been pretty successful in the previous season when able to use, but that's a different patch and that's a different time. Syndra nowadays is more of a type of champion that can be pretty good on a make play when you can get a good stun off, when you get a good CC play. Able to get some good damage and take out a target rather nicely, or set up a massive stun for the team. But
yeah, absolutely.
Versus a brand situation, I don't know how that's going to work out.
Yep. And Syndra is incredibly powerful against squishy comps as well. So I'd really like to see them preemptively prepare for something like a tank pick from DUO. We do know he likes to play skirmishers and fighters in the side lane, but that's not to say he won't. Typically, yeah, there's really nobody else who could pick a tank left except DUO. And he is getting a pretty good setup for his Camille so far. But if one team decides to lock in a tank, you see the Trundle, and then you start getting a lot of trouble for the side of AOL.
Now, let's be truthful here. With the fact that they wanted to get rid of the Draven and they wanted to get rid of the Kai'Sa, as they are very petrified at what is going to be Hero Terminus choice. Knowing they only had 2 choices, they take away both the Kai'Sa and the Draven to make it so that way it's got to be an Ezreal and it's got to be anything of what's remaining and left. And I think they're okay with it being an Ezreal. I think they just have a lot more security if they know that Ezreal is the one they have to go up against rather than the Kai'Sa. Master Yi selected. Wow, I thought it was going to be a tank for sure, but last second switch, and now Sorrow Brown will be taking Master Yi in the jungle choice. Wow.
Hero of Termina, this could technically still be a flex pick. We haven't seen Hero play it, but he was on Omen's team.
Yes.
So Vladimir, and the last second switch to Ezreal. It looks like they were trying to bait out the Ezreal pick from AOL, actually. They were trying to get him onto that, but he instead chooses to opt in for the misfortune here.
So I do
Pretty
find
good early game.
Yeah, I do find it quite interesting that they've got the misfortune strat with the brand, because it's overwhelming AoE heavy damage from both of them, as well as Rise is able to get those lockdown one-on-one plays that he's been so good with so far. Urgot, the final choice. I find that quite mysterious as to why they want so much overwhelming amount of damage and lockdown like that if they're not going to have anybody to hold them in place to make this play. I find that really interesting that they've made this decision, but clearly they want to make some good catches and want to win the 1v1s from this point, as Gangplank appears to be picked for the final.
But yeah, it does look like AE understands their strengths. They've been getting these leads early in the game and throwing mid to late game. Something that's pretty much heavily akin to most of the teams in the bottom half of both brackets right now is there's a lot of teams that just haven't seen success solely because they don't know how to close out games. So Aether going all in on their win condition. They do still have the Rise if they absolutely need a late game sustained damage source, but looks like they definitely want to just go for that early game, poke down with Misfortune, try to outdo the Lucian Braum lane. It would be tough. Their Wombo combo is heavily ranged, and Braum Shield, much lower cooldown than an MF and Brandle, but we'll see.
Yep, and All One Lane has been known for a very long time as the team that if they get momentum, they certainly know how to completely control the game from it. Aether Esports, knowing this type of mentality, wants to completely stunt them before they have that chance. But the truth is, this is an entirely different All One Lane. In fact, I think the only member of All One Lane that's really, here is Sorrow Brown. Everyone else is essentially a brand new person with a brand new theme and a brand new style. So it's all going to come down to how Aether Esports is going to make the early and mid game work, and I think that's exactly it. To that point, I want to bring up one final thing, by the way. I'd like to say that since I've already handpicked Aether Esports as the one I will be talking about for the minute and a half of the spectator delay, I gotta say, They're wanting to win these fights in topside and wanting to win these 1v1s against their opponent and get their game to mid so they can start really hammering down their advantages. So the best thing I want to say to you is I feel like Aether Esports' strategy is definitely going to work if they get the lockdown that they're hoping that they can get through Rise and Misfortune.
Yes,
what do you think is the mentality? Oh, sorry. Last time I cut you off. What do you think is the mentality for all one lanes here?
All one lane's mentality is they do have a stronger bot side, minus the Misfortune potentially, but Lucian Braum again is a really strong lane. If Brand can't abuse his level 1 and 2 advantage, then Lucian and Braum can take over the lane until Misfortune gets a little bit of lethality, if that's the avenue she's going to go. She can go crit. It's not quite as optimal as lethality, but there are 2 tanks on the side of AOL, so it would be nice to be able to go that Black Cleaver route. Having 2 Black Cleavers with Urgot and Misfortune, a ton of AoE application of the Black Cleaver. AE does have a late game win condition if they need it, but realistically AE is pretty good at getting leads. Soberk has been pretty good with his ganks in the early game, and Arda knows when and how to roam. So I'm really looking for AE to snowball the game, get an early lead, get the first tower, and try to make proactive plays and not get caught out. Because if Sorrow Brown gets an item or 2, then Sorrow Brown will start to take over the game, especially with Braum Shield to lock out Misfortune.
What must be avoided as well is the fact that Aether Esports, what has to be avoided is they lose this game and they take this game in stride to the games further. Whatever happens on this game has to stay in this game. Unless it's a victory, you don't want this game to have any importance in the games to come. They've got 3, and they've got to win them all. And we got to find out if they can pull that off in the most unexpected way, or perhaps the most convenient way possible. Because everything's going to have to come from this first victory against one of the stronger teams in this DUO Esports program. Let's see what happens, folks. So get it right into the match coming up soon.
Yep, and we're about to hop into the loading screen. Going to take a look at those keystones, see what kind of avenues the teams opted for. You do have an Ignite on both mid laners this game. Not going to be looking for the TP from Rise. Both of them are going to be looking to search out kills, hopefully get some gank assists or maybe even some roams from the Syndra. At level 6, Rise does have a little bit faster roam potential, but Syndra does have a decent wave clear advantage. It depends on what she takes for one of her runes. If she takes the whatchamacallit, the minion dematerializer, that's what I was saying. Which it appears she might have. She does have Inspiration second, Comet first.
Nautilus going with a Aftershock strategy. He's not really focusing too much on the laning side of the match. He just wants to get into the mid game where he can get that to be the most usable in this situation here. I also find it quite interesting that the Braum has decided to go Aftershock as well. I do think that it would be a little bit of a better item to go a Guardian so he can kind of get some extra protection for Lucian when it comes to those quick trades. It would have been really nice for him for sure. Meanwhile, Lucian deciding to go with a TP strategy to get that edge against Misfortune to win that farm race. And I think he may have gone the right decision, but the overwhelming amount of what has to go right is through Cardi's ability to keep the Lucian standing in these trades.
Absolutely, and it does look like with the Aftershock, you do have the quick proc. If Braum plans on kiting forward in a fight, trying to keep Brand from applying his Q stun, it is their best way to win a trade. Hero Termina has a lot of poke potential, Brand has a lot of poke potential, but Lucian Braum can win an extended fight on top of them. So playing around Brand's spell rotations will be really useful for him here in the bot lane. But Sorrow Brown really going to be looking to get his jungle warded up. He does lose early trades to Sobriquet's Warwick. Warwick is a pretty powerful champion early, has a ton of sustain, clears really fast. So, but the game kind of will blow up around level 6. It depends on what Arda chooses to do with its teleport, and it depends on lane priority from the top side, in my opinion. but we are seeing a stack here.
Yep, and they look to be beginning their invade strat. Here we go. Brand and Misfortune will both sniff it out quite quickly, and it looks to be Knight getting a little bit of love tap by the Braum in return, as both of them will take just a smidge off of each other's health bar, and it did not seem to work like they planned.
And that does reveal a little bit of information for AE. They do know where AOL has started. They have they're assuming that Master Yi is going to start bot side with that. So you can see Sobriquet trying to get some information, trying to avoid the Nautilus. It's pretty useful if you want to get the ability to early track Master Yi, because he can't do anything if you see him coming.
Now, by the way, as this was going on, Warwick has decided to invade to the opposite side, spotted a Nautilus, who did not ward, by the way, as this was going to be a free steal for Warwick, as Master Yi clears the blue camp quite fast, thanks to the assistance of Lucian and Braum.
Now, if Nautilus had the wherewithal to throw a ward down on red, or at least check the red buff as it spawned, this would have been prevented, and Master Yi could have gone for a triple buff start. Warwick could have potentially
Here we go. The damage on the first gank between the top laners has begun. The fleet was connected well. That forces the flash, and Abyssal will now have no choice but to play at a very big disadvantage going against this Urgot early.
Alright, and that ward is going to pick up Master Yi, but that does kind of solve my concern that went in before that gank top lane. Flash down on Nautilus, he can't do anything. No lane priority, so TPs aren't going to be a thing for the next 5 minutes anyways. But Master Yi is able to invade, and Warwick knows that Master Yi is able to invade. Warwick, in my opinion, would want to start picking up some enemy camps in the top side while he knows he's on the opposite side, but it looks like he just opted to go down, clear his own blue, and start the clear. So we just had a side swap.
Meanwhile, as that does go down, here comes Master Yi, jumping the brand from behind. Sorrow Brown getting the autos attack off, is trying to prevent the death, and it is unfortunately not going to lead to a stun on Sorrow Brown, as the bot lane was completely shoved back by Hero Termina and Knight, and the gank does not work.
Yeah, Hero and Knight doing a really good job of using their poke advantage at level 1 and 2 to prevent any ganks from being successful. Chastity, if they had communicated with Sorrow a little bit better...
Oh, the damage! Ooh. He takes him out with the Scorch! Oh my goodness!
The Scorch Comet, that was some good timing. Knight with a very good... actually, Hero got that. Hero with a very good Comet proc.
Ho ho ho! Gotta love when you know about damage amounts, and Lucian completely misread and misplayed the positioning there and ends up taking a massive crit because of what just happened.
Absolutely, and we do see the Warwick starting to path down bot lane. He's going to be able to get a hold of that Scuttle Crab fairly easily. Master Yi can't do a whole lot, but Master Yi does have red buff, so he might walk in, lands the Alpha. Did he get that?
No, he did not.
No?
It looks to be fallen to the Warwick as he does secure it. It looks to be Alpha Strike's effect. Though it's super fast and rather quick, does take a half a second before it is completed its animation, and Warwick, at that timing, managed to get the auto off and secured the objective there. It was really nice and rather quick. Hard to tell, but it is Master Yi that did not get it.
Oh, Televis
Ignite comes in. Oh, yes, it was a solo kill. Fast, quick, and Arda just was not paying attention.
Yep, and that's something I was concerned about. I wanted to bring up. Arda opted for the Sapphire Crystal refillable potion start, which is interesting to me because you basically give up lane priority against Syndra. You don't have kill potential at that point. It's not a very strong level 1 through 3 in first item, so Ignite maybe wasn't a great idea. If it were me, I would have opted in for getting the Sapphire Crystal and tier, but possibly going for TP as my summoner. But he kind of gave up the small lane farm advantage he had. Oh, he comes back in, tries to get the kill, can't get it.
Used the flash as well, wasn't able to make the pure security he wanted. Unlucky for the sake of Arda, who was definitely wanting to get revenge for what just happened. Isn't going to get that opportunity. Good job by Still Live as a Smile there. And the trades continue bot side.
Yeah, and the gold is still even. It's only 1 kill to 1 kill, and the farm relatively across the board. The kill mid didn't really affect a whole lot. That's a good Braum shield, actually, but get the chain CC there.
And the pressure from the overwhelming amount of poke from Knight and Termina are making this so much easier for every amount of pressure that they're asking for out of this bot lane.
Yes, they absolutely played their level 1 to 3 really well, and that first kill for Hero Termina actually was perfect for getting that serrated Dirk and making it so Chastity and Cardi can't really do anything now. They kind of have to just sit back, try to farm under their turret, and as soon as they can avoid a full rotation of Brand poke when he's low on mana, they might be able to go for an all-in, but again, they're real low on HP, so it'd be super risky.
Yeah, definitely heavily risky for sure. Meanwhile, it's more poke, more pressure, more damage, and that is just overwhelming both Chastity and Cardi, and both of them are doing everything in their power just to keep the farm from being as wide of a gap as it is, but it's slowly getting bigger and bigger over the course of how much pressure they're managed to pull off. Oh, Sobra Cute does end up running into Sorrow Brown. Light trade between the two, Arda and To Live Is to Smile. But Warwick, certainly liking it for a second, is going to turn his tail and run the other direction as Master Yi has been spotted out, and they have found out that they have a chance for a free blue buff, and they're certainly going to go for it right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Getting that Master Yi kind of pushed out of the jungle.
Knight using his own body to poke the block. It's so much damage already. The fear connects onto Sorrow Brown. The damage has been all back onto the Warwick, and the catch was made for Lucian to get the kill. He's looking for one more, but Cardi ends up grabbing him through the ignite. Hero Termina on the retreat as they're trying to get out of this sticky situation, but Lucian's not done yet. Wants to get revenge for all that poke. Arda was unable to get any of his autos off, and Hero Termina now low, needs to get out of this spot. Has to heal up, uses it, but it's not enough. To Live Is to Smile with the flash and ultimate, the secure kill on Hero.
And that is huge. To Live Is to Smile knew he'd be giving up a little bit of farm, but got a huge advantage for his team by trying to contest this blue buff take. It did look like A had priority position for that, but Brand was low on mana and wasn't able to get off too many spell rotations there.
Activates the W. Sobercute trying to force the bot lane to step back, but they don't seem to be quite afraid of the pressure. And Cardi will now go ahead and start moving back a bit. Oh wait, a little bit of the passive starts to touch the Lucian, but no play afterwards.
Just a little bit, and we're most likely going to see from AOL now they've kind of stabilized the lane a little bit. Hopefully trying to get some farm onto that Yi. He still hasn't finished his jungle item, but To Live Is to Smile still wants to apply that pressure. He knows he's got kill potential, even though he's not really prioritizing farm here.
Those kills from that early trade and the early thievery that they tried to get from the blue buff definitely had backfired on them, and it allows now the all-one lane to get their lead that they wanted to start building up. And that force behind that they wanted to do to that bot lane is not as devastatingly bad as it was earlier.
And this Lucian is taking a ton of damage, even right off the TP, which is pretty unfortunate, especially with the 20 CS lead that's been built up for Hero of 30 CS lead that's been built up for Hero of Termina nearly now.
Live Is a Smile goes for the ultimate, knows his ignite is definitely going to help him get the kill, and that's 3 kills for the Syndra.
Yeah, so this is a really rough position. That's first turret. This is AE doing
Sorrow
exactly
Brown
this.
activates the ultimate. It's time to fight, and he's going to go ahead and walk right for the Brand. The damage was so much, and it's too much. Hero takes the kill, but Lucian coming in at the moment gets the kill on Brand.
That Misfortune ultimate chunks so hard. Oh my god.
Yes, it did. Anyway, light trade between the two heavy tanks at topside. Without a Black Cleaver, I don't see a situation where DUO will be able to get control of Abyssal Mask's tanky factor.
Yeah, and this is a very back and forth game right now. There's only a 200 difference despite the kill difference, especially since you got the first tower for Hero of Termina.
All comes online, Hero of Termina dodges the ultimate, and here comes Warwick on the side. Hero of Termina needs one passive to proc. The fear comes in, and Warwick saves the Misfortune in the nick of time. Cardi, racing his way out, is nowhere to go as Syndra comes to the rescue. A 2v1 situation. Syndra is on the run. Arda is nowhere near present for this one. Warwick will not make the catch, and Knight will not stop him now, and Live Is to Smile will escape. I gotta say, a little bit of bad read by Arda's part on that one. I feel like if he made a roam, he would have stopped to live it to smile on that play.
Unfortunate. Arda did know he had to back as well. He wants to get that catalyst built up the correct way, but at the same time, to live it to smile has been utilizing his lane priority really well. Every time he pushes out, he disappears from mid lane and he goes and does something. You can tell as well from the fact that I was going to say that they've been securing vision in the jungle, but I see To Live Is To Smile still has 2 stacks of his trinket unused. But Sorrow Brown's been doing a good job of securing vision. Has a 10
Speaking of
vision
securing
score.
vision, I think it's actually going to help him out with this Herald grab, as the enemy team has absolutely no idea that Sorrow Brown and Abyssal Mask, Abyssal Owner, is taking the Herald, and they'll certainly get it for free, as Warwick will be taking out the Syndra while they were taking out that objective. Ult comes online for Nautilus. They're trying to catch the Warwick. No fear up for Warwick here. He's going to escape, and Abyssal Owner will not catch him.
Now, I think the
coming
intention...
online. Here we go, another fight coming in. Knight needs the stun. Warwick goes for the flash, but he mistimes the spear. It's too much damage, and Misfortune grabs himself 1 kill, and Bran grabs the other.
That was a really good rotation from bot lane. You see AOL just being a little late. They've got the 2 subs in who just weren't able to communicate properly, and AE's bot lane is just taking advantage of this.
Well, although it didn't go exactly as Warwick had planned, it did give him an assist for both, so that's definitely good for his sake. Meanwhile, instant grab of the Cloud Drake by Aether Esports.
This is wonderful. So many of these champions are low mobility, or at least the bot lane's real low mobility.
Oh, misses by Warwick. He's forced under tower. They do give him enough protection. Lucian will escape rather quickly. The Urgot ultimate connects. He's gonna throw it all the way over.
The snipe!
The play. Oh my goodness! Dway from across the map. Chris Kyles him.
Oh
In any
my
case,
god.
that definitely changes where Chastity was gonna play. I hope
Chris
that's
Kyles
clipped.
him.
Please tell me that's gonna be clipped. Somebody clip that, please.
You are right, Rob. He does know the way. But Dway just having a really good showing today, and Hero Termina showing why he's a value to every team he's on so far.
Certainly making his impact known, and certainly getting a support that definitely complements him pretty nicely. Abyssal Moaner will end up taking a bad trade. Urgot gets another kill for the road. Ultimate used on Arda, but it wasn't enough. He survives it. Sorrow Brown for the dive. He's going to go for 1 member. The fear was well timed, and Master Yi goes down.
That was an interesting alpha strike. I think he didn't have vision, so there's a chance that Sorrow Brown thought it was just 1 player there. Thought it was just Arda, maybe, because he was low and had no mana at the time. But it was very interesting, very greedy with how far behind in gold their team is now. They are sitting on about a 4,000 gold deficit after that.
Yep, and it is mostly due to the farming differences as we're seeing from the mid side and the bot side. 100 plus 4 kills on the Misfortune Hero Termina. You gotta love it when you have him on your team as a captain and as an owner, because that is the type of free agent player you can just keep getting, keep having good success with, and just has a grand old time in every place you can see.
And you do have to mind the fact that the gold difference is mostly on Hero Termina here.
Wow, here comes Abyssal. His ability to do a lot of surprising damage was working for the most part, but here comes DeWade on the reinforcements, has an ultimate. He's not going to use it right now. He fires it. It's not a barrier that can give you survivability against that. And it is Lucian who is going to go down to the Misfortune ultimate at the bot side. Overwhelming amount of trade between the 2 of them as the tower at top side begins the siege, and the red team starts on the run. All 1 lane without their starting players are starting to look a lot less consistent.
Absolutely. The rotations are really good from AE. This is about that time that we want to start seeing them make the proper choices, though. The Rift Herald is propped by AOL. I'm not sure how much they're going to be able to get out of it. It was probably about to go off cooldown, though. But this is that point where Aether needs to kind of start shoving their lead down their throats. They have to recognize that they have a 4,000 gold lead. They have to recognize that they do have they have a 2-item advantage on Misfortune. Lucian has yet to even finish an item. So AE needs to just understand their win condition, understand that they want to play around vision, pick one side of the enemy jungle to ward up, and just find picks around it, because their team has a ton of AoE, their team has a ton of hard CC right now. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Ton of AoE, ton of hard CC. Lock someone down, throw all your ultimates on them, and then get something out of it.
Oh yes, definitely. Loving what I'm watching so far through this matchup for AE, as this is exactly the tide starter you want to have, knowing you've got to play 2 more matches after this. You really want this to be a good first win, as you can beat one of the top dogs currently in this matchup here. But to be fair, it is essentially a win record of a difference. It's not a team difference between these two. It's just one team happens to have a really high win-loss record because the members of the starting roster made that happen, versus a team that is trying to get as many wins as they can to keep themselves relevant in the playoff run that they need to start building.
Absolutely, and I can see where AOL's coming from using different players. That using different subs is important. Being able to have options when your players are missing is important. For example, the hurricane incident that happened to Nizumi and one other member of AOL last night. There's a potential that their players were available, but they still wanted to give some other players an opportunity to make sure that they have people that can maintain that win rate. Lucian is getting a few kills. Lucian's almost at 100 gold, or 100 CS, which is okay given how disadvantageous their game has been so far.
And Misfortune going lethality here is absolutely very beneficial, I have to admit.
Oh,
anyway,
absolutely.
engage time. Ultimate used by Misfortune right away to keep that entire enemy team away from Abyssal Owner, and it's Hero that gets the last auto to come through. That was extremely well timed and well decisioned by Hero, as he single-handedly threw the entire team back, so Abyssal Owner was isolated, and that made a quick kill on the catch. Just that type of play is amazing.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate because this comp is amazing at locking down a champion like Misfortune too, but because of the lead and because of the Ryzen brand not doing like amazing in their own rights, but they've got the hard CC to just keep them off of Misfortune. That's literally all they need to do.
Yeah, any individual play, they can just hit them with some CC to make it so Misfortune has a chance to have some reaction time and protection.
Absolutely, and even the tanks on the side of AOL are still kind of squishy. You do have a Sunfire Cape now, you do have Merc Treads on the Nautilus, but it doesn't seem to be quite enough just because of the amount of damage and armor shred on the side of Aether right now. So they can't use their lockdown abilities and their gap closers, because if the whole team doesn't commit for Misfortune, then they die. And you can't underestimate the damage from the brand or from Arda, because they're going to be investing so much into armor and sustain to try to deal with Hero of Termina.
Oh yeah, oh definitely yeah. So it's going to be what happens next to come is definitely going to have to be what their game plan is currently. They've got a 1-3-1 strat building up right now as the siege begins in the mid side. They're setting up a defense strategy. Sorrow, Brown, and Nautilus on the top side. Arda, I don't think he's got enough damage to do this, but he's certainly going to try to force his way through. Ult's coming in. Damage is flying off the map. Arda flashes out, but he does not get back inside of his own ultimate, and he gets out of there quickly. Urgot continues to push the wave bot side, and I think the differences in positioning made a big reason why Aether will not be able to continue their siege at mid side.
And being able to stem the bleeding, recognize that Arda is kind of the one dying the most and mispositioning the most this game, uncharacteristically, by the way, is their sort of win condition to get back in this game right now. Because right now, AE pretty much has total control of the bottom side of the map, but Arda's just out of position on the top side. They know they can get something onto Master Yi and Nautilus, who are the two champions that need to be able to rush into the front line, need to be able to survive a fight. And it's actually obviously apparent at this point that 20 minutes into the game, the early game win condition of Syndra and the Lucian Braum lane isn't going to be able to quite cut it. So we need to start looking at what can we do to get Sorrow Brown strong enough to kill their backline. How does Sorrow Brown cut through the enemy team? Well, you get him fed, get him a couple items, throw Braum in there, and hope he gets a good ultimate at this point.
Yep. And until that type of situation happens, they got to keep the game going a little bit longer so they can make that work. And Grand damage, he's taking a lot, and the Braum catches the ultimate to stop Knight from having a chance to spread that damage around. One of the big reasons why it's always nice to have a Braum on your team. When you happen to deal with a misfortune or Brand, you can stop them right in their tracks. Oh, it would have been enough, but he doesn't want to commit the resources in to kill the Brand on the side. Master Yi could have a chance, but doesn't have that much time to catch and run. It's too quick of a counter maneuver by Aether Esports, so he doesn't take the risk. I think he made the good call here.
And To Lives to Smile, yes, has very good spatial awareness there. He could have flash ulted, could have flash ignited, but the second he uses that flash, he knows he runs out of options to escape.
Well, not in this situation. Instant catch, instant grab. Sorrow Brown looking to spread more of that victory. Arda will quickly maneuver his way out as he did not know where the team was at the time.
And DUO is collapsing. This looks like it'll turn into a 4v4 if AOL's not careful. However, Master Yi's ult is down, Syndra's ult is up, and Braum's ultimate is up.
Here we go. Here's the beginning of a possible engage. Syndra misses the combo on the stun, and Master Yi now comes back to the fight. With 4v4 situation in mid side is no longer the case, as Nautilus is now beginning his retreat.
And this is very good from Aether. They use the push that they got. AOL is still afraid here, so as soon as they get mid priority, they walk into the river, get vision. As soon as the wave comes back, come back out, get it pushed, go back in and get priority. This is really good map positioning from AE, taking control of mid and top side, and trying to threaten that Baron, even if they don't start it yet.
Well, Rise is already beginning that solo split. It didn't work last time that he did this, but they do have confidence in Arda despite this, and I feel like that's a big bad idea, as TP advantage is with DUO right now.
Exactly, and neither team has.
And here we go again, Master Yi coming up top side for another fight, and Arda will end up getting ulted, taken down almost instantaneously. And Aether Esports, you gotta wonder, why are you sending Rise topside to do this play? It's not working, and you consistently have failed this strategy.
Now, Nautilus has greater amounts of CC than Urgot. So trying to draw Nautilus away from his team and try to waste that TP, because you know Urgot's stronger, he just doesn't have as much CC. Their team fight, the ability to protect Master Yi and protect the Syndra are pretty much how they're going to get back into this game. So I personally would like to see DUO pull bot side and keep Arda top, because Arda's ultimate can still reach the Baron pit. It allows them to still keep priority in the two top side lanes, mid and top, keep that Baron pressure, but also allow DUO to remain a consistent threat on a side lane. He does have TP, he doesn't really have too much of a reason to be splitting XP right now, and there's about to be a free wave pushing back into him. They just got to keep their lanes pushed properly, understand that AOL's gonna rotate and try to take any free kills they can find, so they just want to back off and just go in, push a lane, back off, go in, push a lane, back off, and just try to prevent vision.
The entire enemy team of all one lane have begun their pursuit of vision control of the Baron pit. They have given up the Mountain Drake, and this is an easy opportunity for Aether Esports to do a Baron anytime they want. The hook goes wide, just barely missing the tip end of Arda as he's racing his way out. The chase has begun, and Cardi does not want to commit any more resources in. They're still in a pretty tightly contested spot, really good for a brand and company if they ever get a good position. They've started the Baron prematurely, and Knight takes a bad trade there and takes half of his health bar gone now.
Yeah, this game, the gap still is 4,000 or 5,000 gold, but it is starting to look closer. That gold difference is starting to matter a little bit less. You've got an item on everybody on the team. Nautilus actually has 2. That shows how cheap tank items are.
Yeah, no kidding. Speaking of cheap items, Brand's item choices is quite interesting. He's decided to go with a lost chapter on the first one, then you don't see Brand's really going in that item choice whatsoever. And
yeah,
it
he's
looks
looking
to
for that burst damage.
Yeah, that's quite bizarre for a Brand to do, isn't it? It's more like you want to have more health percentage damage through the Leandry's Torment and try to get more out of how much damage you can do as a whole, but go for burst just doesn't seem to make sense.
The major justification I can see is that there's a lot of backline protection on the side of AOL, right? And there's a lot of front-to-back team fighting potential from AE. Misfortune is a relatively low-range ADC unless she gets a good ultimate off.
Or a nice Q bounce.
Yeah. Yeah, Warwick and DeWay's Urgot are both going to be short-range front-to-back team fighters. Ryze, front-to-back team fighter. So Brand having burst damage and the ability to just press R on the back line.
No way Arda falls for this again. No way. No way. He fell for it again? Are you kidding me? He goes down for the 3rd time in this split. That is just unbelievable for Arda. It's almost like he just is a glutton for punishment in that situation. Oh, lockdown! Too much damage from Hero. Termina takes out Syndra, and that actually heavily benefits Aether Esports. They're trying to keep that pressure going, but Warwick goes down. The Braum held him down too long, and Lucian gets the catch and play. Oh, wait a second. It was a catch for a second, but Abyssal Owner's now on the run, and the siege at mid is about to begin.
Anyways, so what I was saying, Knight's Luden's Echo idea, I can see the benefit of it. Backline access, press R, get a Luden's proc on the squishies in the backline. It's going to be the bulk of where his damage wants to go because you've got plenty of carries to shred through the front line. And you still get that consistent damage, you just don't get the slow of, say, a Rylai's or the percent health damage you get from a Leandry's. Although I would agree it would be a really good buy next, because even though you want to get backline access, if possible, with the Brand support right now, it would be very nice to be able to shred through the tanks, so that percent health damage would be useful too.
Definitely, Knight was doing a fantastic job with Hero, completely controlling the early game stages and getting his, getting his advantages and pushing all the gold into Hero right now. But it's kind of a mystery seeing what is going on with his item choices. But anyway, Baron, 3,000, 2,000 on it thanks to the Mountain Drake, 1,000 instant take for Aether Esports. 2 Mountain Drakes, you gotta love the true damage.
Oh, absolutely. Still no
they
percent
want
health
to push this further. Stun locks down rather nicely onto that carry bot lane. Nautilus still on the split atop. They're sieging mid as a team now.
And Aether knows they're ahead. They know that even though the kill score is shortened, they've got 5 turrets, they've got 3 Drakes, they've got a Baron. This is their time to push. They need to just position properly, try not to get stuck in a silly dive, and coordinate around a fight together.
TP coming in by Nautilus. He's not going to try to come from behind, but he does manage to force Aether back. He gets a grab onto the Brand. It's a 5v4 situation. It needs almost one more pull. It's coming up again. He might go for the flash pull. He will not have the chance to slow. Too strong. Forces. No opportunity to be made here.
And again, AOL gets some kills, but they can't really do much with it. There's no objectives up to grab right now. They don't have a wave or wave clear priority on mid lane, so they can't get a turret.
What I would say right now, Chastity, use your TP and go topside right now. Let your team reset the wave. That is absolutely what you should be doing right now. Force the tower grab, since you know the only way they can respond is to use the TP by Urgot as a returning choice. You don't have to force a siege here at mid. All you have to do is start getting some wealth back by taking some top tower.
100%. This play wastes a lot of time on the side of AOL. They don't really get from it, but they're going to go for the Abyssal Owner ultimate. And we've got Arda in the top lane, so let's see if Arda gets caught a 4th time.
Here we go. Serpacute looking for a play. He turns last second to Lucian. Cardi jumps to the help. Ultimate's online. Warwick is not tanking for very long, but the Master Yi forces the kill on Misfortune, and Aether Esports has lost their prime carry, as it looks to be Arda still on the side of the wave. Serpacute looking for one more player. It's an ultimate used, and well-timed play, but AE DeWay gets one catch. He's looking for more to go for him. He gets 2 kills for the road and gets a shutdown to go with it. He's looking to make this a much bigger lead. Wait a minute. No, they're actually going for the win. They're going to try to win the match with the true damage to the towers they can do. Nautilus trying to hold them off as long as they can. AE DeWay will end up taking the tower with Rise, hitting the last shot, but he does not go down quickly to the tower. Knight, he accidentally takes damage from the turret and goes down. Arda now on the run. Big misread by Aether Esports.
And although this did go down. And although this did go downhill, I am still proud of Aether for being proactive. An older Aether Esports would not have taken advantage of finally seeing Arda's on the top side. They're gonna send people for him. As soon as AOL started to back off, that was Sobriquet's cue to go.
Let's talk about what they could have done. What else they could have done. They had Arda already taking the tower. They already got rid of everything else. I seen the next call, grab the top inhibitor. Grab the top inhibitor and then make the next play after that.
If they had a wave, they did have those 15-second timers that killed them in the first place. They could have at least gotten the top lane pushed out and reset.
I know for a fact they had a wave. I'm positively sure that they thought they had the chance for the Nexus, so they went for it as they had a wave there. But I know for a fact Arda was bringing a wave over towards the top tower, and I feel like it's 100% get the inhibitor tower at top and then just reset.
Yeah, they did get a Nexus turret for it. What they decided to do, they could have gotten out after getting the Nexus turret, because arguably that turret is more valuable than an inhibitor turret. I can't necessarily say it was a bad decision. I also probably would have said I can't win the game and would have gone for the inhibitor turret as well.
Yes. I feel in every environment, that's just what you gotta do in that spot. But I guess they must have heard teammates saying, no, well, we can win the game right here, and then decided to just go ahead and push their way through.
Yeah, I would have respected, hey, death timers, you can get a Nexus turret, grab one, get out. Because you have the wave reset, you have bot lane coming in, you have top lane coming in, you have control over any objective you want. Yeah, at worst you would go for that type of situation, but in all due respect, I think you grab the top inhibitor and then grab the inhib tower too, and then that's all the way around. You get the inhibitor tower first and then the inhibitor. But yes, you do that and then you could just make your plans from there, because at least you got 2 waves pushing up and you can start doing a different plan. Match E, has to flash ult to just get out of that catch, as Sorrow Brown narrowly avoids getting taken out there. He can easily take out Misfortune in a one-on-one now. He's got enough tankiness to survive enough damage Hero Termina can dish out. However, it's the peel factor that has not been too present in Aether Esports' protection plan. But let's see what happens from this point onward. Exactly. Braum and Abyssal Owner are finally starting to get tanky, so they are trying to take more of these fights. They're going a little more split.
Hit. Aether takes... Oh, Knight takes way too much damage. Lucian takes him out. They're starting to snowball that advantage here. Braum catches the entire ultimate and holds it off. Warwick ult will not be used yet, and it's Cardi that ends up getting a big play on that one. Rise takes him out. Warwick takes out Nautilus, and it's a 1-2 situation as Urgot is now fighting against the Master Yi in a 1v1. He catches him mid-meditation. He gets the ultimate, and Sorrow Brown goes down to Urgot. And that's going to be a tower at topside going down fast, and this could be Aether Esports' victory against all one lane.
And I thought that the fight was going south for Aether, actually, at first. The catch was really good on Knight, but Hero Termina got half of an ultimate off before the Braum shield went up, and it was I'm surprised Hero survived, and then he didn't survive. Game appears to
that's
be
why
ending
you're.
now.
That's why you're surprised. So that's what should have happened earlier. DUO will end up taking out the Syndra in return, but cannot get away from Lucian, and that's a lot of bounty gold he just picked up there. And they defend the Nexus well enough, as they did not manage to focus it well enough in that last fight, and the game continues.
Right. So, downside of having better vision control, AE doesn't really have any trinkets up. It looks like DUO, if he had the wherewithal, could have dropped a ward and looked to TP when he came back up. Maybe go for a sneak, because they might try to contest this Baron here. Would have been pretty funny to watch a backdoor, but it looks like it's just going to be a straight up
Might
fight.
be. No, I'm not gonna critique you any harder than this, but you might be looking at a different game here. DUO took the top tower and inhibitor, and that was the right call to do. The problem was they just couldn't seem to close out the game on that last situation, and that's the only critique I got to admit. I feel like you might be watching a different game, because I don't think he would even need to TP in any situation after that at all, other than trying to get that top tower for the top inhibitor to be exposed. Just my opinion, of course. Well, it's true sorry again, but it's true damage now on this Baron that's going to make this melt super fast, super quickly, and it's Baron that's fallen rather fast, and it's Aether Esports easily securing this again. DUO, was I a little rude there? I'm sorry. DUO? Hello? I'm sorry, man. Come back. Are you okay? I'm sorry. I didn't mean to be that rude. Oh no. Oh boy. Anyway, big team fight has broken out here. Nautilus catches the Brand, but Brand somehow still alive is going to go down to the Syndra. No, he's still standing. The ultimate used by Master Yi was going to be negated by the Urgot. It's To Live It's a Smile that ends up getting taken out. Lucian trying to keep the game alive. Rise using the ultimate to push the way forward. Gets the catch on Braum. The damage way too much. And it will be Aether Esports that comes out with a sweeping victory, taking the Nexus and winning the match. So DUO has left the building. He's left the chat. I think I was too rude. Oh no. I'm quite sorry. You ruined him. Too rude, my dude. I chose the wrong choice of words there. Gotta admit, it was pretty good for Aether Esports to come out with a victory. Gotta say as well that they have taken quite a lot of time to earn that victory, as they could have won it maybe 10 minutes earlier with a bit better of decision making for sure. But a rocky win is better than no win at all. Great job by their part. Let's take a look at the damage to champions here. Misfortune, 33k, 33.7k damage, looking really nice with the lethality decision and the lethality choices. Is he gonna come back? Like, I feel like he's gonna come back at some point, right? Right? Well, the Syndra did quite a bit of damage in the early game stages. Seems to have fallen off a little bit near the end of it, as the damage was just not coming out through. But Lucian certainly swung that bad game to a good one, keeping the damage higher than the Brand and Rise during the fight as it was going. The damage taken will end up being a side note for later. Vision score and Ward's place will be really great for the Brand, as 92 vision score. Got to love it. It is beautiful to see that much amount of vision score in the game. With a 34 vision Ward's placed, did a really good job in the game. Absolutely. Going up to see what goes on with the control wards here. No control wards by Hero of Termina, who's in the chat right now. Hero of Termina, who's in the chat right now. No control wards. How dare you? And the Warwick also not going control wards. But the team certainly compensated for that, as they got over 5 control wards purchased. Rather nice job by the rest of the team not putting out control wards. Might as well put some of your own. Definitely was a good game for everyone who was involved in Aether Esports is there. Big win for them. They need this win to keep going. And if you guys are still a fan of Aether, you've got more games to come. Next match, let's see if Eskimos will be able to be ready and be set on time. You'll certainly find out soon enough, folks. Be back soon enough.